Hello and welcome to All the Pies YouTube channel. My name's Kev. That's Davy. And on tonight's show, we'll be having a little look back at a classic at Old Trafford where we stuffed the Red Devils, the absolute wankers. And we'll also be having a little look ahead of the weekend's clash against Flying High Arsenal. So let's get into it.
God, he scored so many goals.
All right,
right.
Davy. All right.
Feels like there's been more than just the Man United game. We've just been
Well,
too
there
busy
has,
between the two and not well and all of this. And I'm coming down with COVID again, me.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
have
well.
been tested. Hang on a minute. I'm just going to try something. Hey, I tell you what, I feel better already. That's brilliant. That like.
Was that in ode to Alex Ferguson saying we beat Man U the other night? Was it?
No, that was
the old hairdryer treatment.
Boris Johnson asking specialists whether putting the hairdryer up your nose would get rid of COVID. Clearly, he was right because I feel much better.
Looking much better. Or maybe that could do with a bit of hairdryer. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ill as fuck at the minute. So a little caveat to tonight's show: if you see us go quiet and giving it the old, it's because I've got a chest infection. So
Keep away from me. Hang on, I'll go further to that side there.
Typical, isn't it? When I'm going to Germany on Monday as well, can come down with something. Well, I'll survive. I'll still be out there getting pissed. Right, we've got lots to get through, Davey. But before we do, are you ready?
I'm definitely ready.
You sure you're ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Are you fucking ready?
Okay, let's go.
I've missed him.
Aye, so far.
Hey man, I mean, we missed talking about the Dortmund game, which I was right into it in terms of tactics and stuff. They were superb. They really were. They just tactically knew exactly what they were doing. But that's enough about that one.
Yeah, we'll move on swiftly from that one. We don't like doing videos when we get beat. We're little glory seekers, right?
I was at the Wolves game, and had a weekend seeing my grandson, and the extended family down there. Felt like 2 points dropped, to be honest, but
a bit, yeah.
You know, it was just one of them where we just didn't seem to be firing on all cylinders. The passing out, the defense wasn't great. Trippier had an off day, first proper off day, but you know, you've got players who fill in and whatever. I thought Shaw was brilliant, and Bruno was superb in the middle. You know, and Gordon played well. But it was just one of them games. It just didn't happen. But that was miles and miles, ages ago. And then something else happened.
Yes, something else did happen. Something happened only 2 nights ago where the Newcastle United C team absolutely stuffed everybody's favourite team. I think it's fair to say it's everybody's second team, isn't it? Manchester United.
Oh yes, everybody loves them.
Yeah, everybody absolutely adores Manchester United. So yeah, do you know what it is? I'm obviously saying that tongue in cheek, right? I can't stand Man U. The absolute agony they put me through as a young lad, right? Is just it just feels so good. Feels so good to see the media on top of them and seeing them all absolutely losing their minds. And it felt so good on Wednesday night when we thrashed them 3-0, didn't it, Davey?
You see, when I was a bairn, when I started getting really into football, when I can first remember 3-4-year-old, Man United were in the second division. They'd been relegated, so all they had was the history honestly, they'd been relegated, and then they kind of came through. They were beaten by Southampton in the cup, and I didn't really care too much, worry about who they were. The first time I really thought about them was when they beat us 7-2 in the cup, and from then on, I've hated them. But I've got some friends who are Man United fans, but I think everybody has.
Yeah, no, to be fair, there's about 5 of the fans that are all right. The rest of them can sit on that, right?
But
No,
it was just a tremendous day. I mean, I had gone to I'm not going to go into it too much, but I'd been to the hospital, which was the reason why I couldn't go, because straight away I was right. I'm going to go to the next game when we won the last one, and then I thought, when the draw came out, I thought, it's going to be the Wednesday night. I'm not going to be able to go. So I had to go to the hospital, but I had probably the best results that I could have hoped for. I'll not go into it, but
sounds like good news.
So I was, it was good news basically. And then later on, I thought, yeah, we'll see what happens. Saw the team, I thought, yeah, let's go for it, And there was people have meltdowns on social media about the team, and I thought, well, hang on, because Livramento and Hall are both really decent players. Hall was Chelsea's best player when we played them last season. Livramento, good player, and Dummett's always given 100%, and he looks fit. He looks properly fit. Kraft was playing really well before he got injured, and then behind them you've got Dubravka. So I wasn't really worried about the defense, And then you look at the rest of them, and I just thought, well, let's just go for it.
I was expecting to see the likes of John Beresford on the team. It just seemed as though they were pulling out fullbacks from left, right, and centre. I was like, they've got 2 fullbacks. Oh, hang on, they've got 2 fullbacks in the middle as well. Who's on the left? Oh, they've got a fullback on the left hand side as well. I was like, yes. I'll be honest, I was a little bit concerned when I saw how many changes there were in the defence. But when, like you said, Kraft was playing really well before he picked up this big injury. And by the looks of it, he's just picked up where he left off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say something which is a little bit naughty, shall I say? But I think that the injury early on to Target actually helped with, and I like Target, but when I saw, the only thing I was concerned about was Target being the player to play in the centre midfield. Now, when he was up against, they played their best player basically in their midfield, and I thought, that is the one concern I've got. I didn't want him to get injured, obviously, but when he went off and then he put Willock there for a couple of minutes, and then he swapped it over again, and Eddie Howe put Joe Elton in there, and Joe Elton was absolutely brilliant in that central role. He was just out of this world, and I'm wondering whether that is his position, where it will allow Bruno to get that bit further forward. And it was fantastic because there were times where Longstaff kind of slotted in next to him, so it became a 4-2-1-3 with Willock as the one, and he was kind of, he wasn't just playing in that left hand side role. He was all over the place, and I think it helped with, to be honest. But the goals were tremendous and came from Livramento basically starting off defensive duties and then running up the pitch. And I'll let you take over because it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a bet on a fullback getting man of the match, you probably have a good shout. But the best fullback and the best player on the pitch for me was Tino Livramento, and that run that he made from the defense.
Hall wasn't far behind him, man.
He wasn't, man. And what I wanted to say before when you were going through that is, I'm pleased that Eddie Howe didn't move Lewis Hall from the left back position into the left midfield, which would have been
Yeah.
an easy temptation to do. I think he needs to run in that position, because that's
Yeah.
the position we're balling for effectively at the end of the day. And when I thought he was a little bit unlucky against Man City, because Eddie Howe seemed to move him about a little bit and didn't really
Yeah.
find a position for him within that game. Then obviously he got hooked off at half time, and it didn't seem to affect his confidence. So when he came into that game last night, he had a really good stab at left back. So
Yeah.
I think that's good that we're getting that that bit of cover in that position.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
as for Livramento on the goal, I mean, what a run it was! It would have
Yeah.
been so easy as well to slip in. Who was it that was running up alongside him?
I think it
Was it
was.
Joe Linton?
I think it might have been Gordon. I can't remember. I've watched it that
Gordon, I
many
think you're
times,
right.
but I've not watched that part of it. I saw that bit when it happened, and then thought, as you say, the easy thing would have been to slip the ball in.
Slip the ball in. That's
But
right.
the best ball was, Mick. I mean, you've got to give Miggy credit as well. He was brilliant, But
It's when he puts those burners on, isn't it? And he suddenly puts
yeah,
his head back, doesn't he? You know when he's really running at his fastest, because he does that thing where he runs like that, doesn't he? He's looking at the ceiling somewhat. I'm like, you're going to have to look at the ball at some stage there, Miggy, otherwise you're going to run past him. But
exactly.
I thought, at first, I thought, oh, is he had too heavy of a touch? But no, he took it out probably a little bit further to the side than he would have wanted. But impeccable
No,
finish.
he was brilliant. And then his pass through for Willock was tremendous for the second goal as well. Absolutely brilliant. And he kept stabbing at it, Willock, and got a decent ball in. And I thought they were going on about there wasn't much pace on the ball, but I thought it was a poor header out. And Hall basically just took his chance and went for it. And there was a very tiny little area that he needed to get the ball through the defenders and pass the keeper into the corner. And he just straight through them and in. And I thought it was a really nice fit. He didn't welly it, he basically placed it on the volley, which, was really, really good. And to see him get his first professional goal for us, I didn't know he hadn't scored for Chelsea, but to see that first goal, that was tremendous as well. Yeah.
It was, and yeah, I mean, that stage of Manchester United fans are, I mean, they've been quiet anyways, but they're thinking to themselves, bloody hell, I've came all the way from Notting Hill for this. I'm gonna have to get the train back down to my 5-bedroom apartment in London. But
then
no, it was one-way traffic pretty much in the first half. However, the second half, I've got to be honest, the first 10, 15 minutes, I was a little bit nervous. They made the substitutions at half time, and especially the one Bissaka substitution, I feel helped them get forward a bit more and give them that extra option on
He's
the
a good
right-hand
player.
side. He is a decent player, yeah. And the third goal, it did come against the run of play, but nonetheless was a really, really nice goal, because Joe Linton, as he did the whole game, was getting his foot in, was getting tackles in the middle, in turning possession over. And Willock he just looked as though he had a goal in him yesterday at every stage. Whenever he got the ball, he looked really dangerous. He looked like he hadn't missed a beat since the last time he played. And I was dead happy for him when he slotted that one in the bottom corner.
It was tremendous goal. And at that point, it was just, I was shouting and screaming in the house, so I don't know what I would have been like if I had been able to actually get to the match. But it was tremendous. And then at the end, I saw Joelinton singing along with the EIO and all that kind of stuff, and he was singing along with the Wembley song, and I quickly put that one back, and I recorded it on my phone, put it on Twitter, and it's got nearly 4,000 likes now.
That's it.
It's just on trackers.
That's the type of content you get from All the Pies. Like, subscribe, comment.
and then the other great thing was, in the Times yesterday, they commented that it was mentioned about why did Eddie Howe bring on Bruno and Wilson with less than 20 minutes to go, attacking players when he's already 3 down. Was he looking to get more goals? And he basically said that'll be their training session for the next game, which I don't think he intended on having a dig, but that was just absolutely hilarious when you think he's used Old Trafford as the training ground for the players coming on to prepare for the next game. Which
Just
I thought was
little bit of
hilarious.
sparring,
It was
in the gym
brilliant.
before the actual competition on Saturday, which makes us a nice segue because I mean we'll be going into this Saturday's game full of confidence now.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one, but you know what it is? I still think we're going to smash them. And do you know what it is? Even if there was an Arsenal fan right here, right now, I'd say it to the face. I'd say, oh, was that? Yeah. So as you can see,
just
we
like
do have
magic.
as you can see, we do have a special guest. Dan is back. Dan, the Arsenal fan. Welcome back to All the Pies. Thank you so much for coming on. Really
Pleasure to be here.
appreciate it. I didn't mean what I said, honestly. I was just joking.
Well, we can talk about it now.
Yeah, how are you doing anyways, Dan? You're all right?
Yeah, all good. Can't complain. As I said, it's, saving myself from the storm, keeping safe, all that.
Yeah, I know there's quite the storm down there. I was looking on the news before. Jersey's had quite a battering as well, isn't it? Some terrible scenes down there, roofs coming off and everything.
Yeah.
So stay safe, everybody. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, thinking of going up north to watch us get beaten by you lot was last year when I met you before, and that horrible 2-0, and I was driving back in just torrential rain. It always seems to kind of fit in well with horrible defeats. So, yeah.
Well, your team's doing rather well again this season.
There's still time for you to come up again.
Yeah. Well, I was saying last season, I would love to have been there. I was looking at train tickets at the time. It's like, 200 quid return or something.
No, it's ridiculous.
It's like, yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, it is expensive. Well, I'm heading down to London on Monday because I'm going via London to get to Dusseldorf, but just a fleeting visit. So hopefully, I'll be heading back down to there with.
What are you doing in Dusseldorf?
We've got Dortmund away.
Oh, so you're seeing
going
Dortmund,
over there. Yeah, going over there.
Yeah.
So your team though doing quite well again this season. What do you make of it? Because I mean, I was looking at some of the recent results, and it's been a little bit of a mixed bag just of late. All in all, it's been really good. You look, he's second in the league, plenty of points. The question I've got for you: are we seeing a better or a worse or somewhat the same Arsenal as last season?
Good question. I think I touched upon it last season, but I think with the kind of challenging Man City, every game is just tense. You can't whereas the beginning of last season and Spurs are kind of in this position of just enjoying the ride. It's just, no expectations, and that plays out in the atmosphere, and you see a team just really enjoying themselves. This year, you can feel the added tension in the crowd. Any draw feels like a defeat because you're going up the machine, the robot that is Man City. We haven't lost in the league this season, but it still feels we've not yet. We haven't lost yet, but it still feels we've not quite clicked into gear. I think we're a different team. I think the main focus, I think, for us this year and Arteta has been he wants to control games a lot more, and he wants to maybe. I think last season it was fun. We were a very attacking side. We were a fun team to watch, but especially that second half of the season, we conceded so many goals, and you can't win any league conceding that amount of goals. So I think with the addition of Rice particularly, he's trying to really kind of solidify, and thinking about Timber as well as a purchase. But I think he's trying to control games a lot more. And so, I saw a few commentators kind of talking about that Man City win as being quite almost boring, and that it wasn't really. It's like that was exactly what we needed to be able to control a game like that, and to have a 1-0 game that was boring. They had, Haaland had 0.00 xg. It was fantastic. That was a great win. So I think that's been more of a focus, and I think because of that, as a consequence, we're not as free flowing going forward. So I think. So yeah, and I was thinking about going into tomorrow.
I was gonna ask you if that's okay.
Just before we do that, Dan, you had your AirPods in before. I'm gonna ask you to switch back to them just because we're getting a little bit of a crackle when we're coming through there.
Yeah, I lost sound from you with them before, so I'll try and put them in, see what happens. Hang on.
See what happens. But yeah, sorry, what were you going to go on to say, Davy?
I was going to ask about Rice coming in and that and freeing up Odegaard and how. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah, I missed that last bit.
We were just talking. That'll get edited, will it?
Nah, we'll carry on. We'll carry on. We'll carry on.
I could have said anything.
Stylish as always.
I could have said anything.
Fancy saying that about Dan when he wasn't listening. That's terrible, that did.
Well, the couple of people who are still watching and listening will know what I'm going to ask, basically. But bringing Rice in, I was going to say, obviously, massive player to bring in. But last season, I said Odegaard was the player to watch. And of course, it was a fairly even game until Odegaard got space and moved forward. The fact that Rice has come in, is that allowed him to do that more, do you think, and work with Saka when he is playing? And he's missed a couple of games as well. So was he injured or so is that had an effect as well?
The Odegaard, his form's dropped a bit. And actually Arteta came out last week and said he'd been struggling with an injury. There's a few suspicions that it was that. I don't know if you watched the Man City game, but Kovacic should have been sent off for the first challenge, let alone the second one. But when he went through the back and just kind of, so there's a few people saying, "Oh, it might have been that one," but basically they're saying he was kind of carrying an injury. And I heard you talk about the kind of training session at the end. We were kind of against West Ham. It was we were on the wrong side of the 3-0, and that's when we brought in players, I think, with Saturday in mind. So Odegaard had a little cameo. He scored a goal, and it was again a bit like your game. It was a bit of a training match, those last 25 minutes of our games. So yeah, I mean, I think thinking about our midfield, and that's the big adjustment. I think, so we kind of had it last year. We had those kind of left and right banks. So you'd have Odegaard, Saka, and right, and that was really free flowing. And then on the left, you'd have Xhaka, Zinchenko, and Martinelli, and that was just really effective. And that's some of the reasons maybe we've not been clicking as much. I mean, we can talk about Havertz in a sec, but
he's another one, because I was going to ask about Havertz, because that totally threw me, the whole Havertz situation. What do you think of him?
He's going to stop. I'm still holding out judgment. I've got a lot of mates, a lot of Arsenal mates, who are saying, they just don't get him. What's the point? I think he's not been great. He's not been that terrible. I don't think he's just not done anything. And I think looking at Willock scoring a goal like that,
forward though, Kai Havertz, is he? I mean, because the problem with Chelsea was the same. It was consistent goals, wasn't it? And when you see him on the ball, he's not a bad footballer. He's got a decent touch. He knows where there's a pass. Now, we had a similar situation with Joe Linton where we kept sticking with him up front, and then when he moved to a different position, he became a different player. I wonder, is the scope for maybe Arsenal trying him in a different position, or is that just his position for you?
I think he's more a number 10. I would have played him as a number 10, but who plays number 10s these days, and you play the 4-3-3 the same as us, so there's not really room for anybody like that. So
so I don't think he's going to start in midfield tomorrow. If I was going to guess, I mean, as I said, I think with Havertz, I'm still giving a bit of time. We need the transfer to work. We're a team that can't really afford to just have a 65 million transfer not work out. He comes with baggage coming from Chelsea, basket case club.
Yeah.
Who, you're talking about United, Chelsea and United for me, it's close. It's close of how much I despise them after Spurs, obviously. But like Havertz, he's still, he's in a new position. He's also a player just shot of confidence. He just looks. He's. When you see players like, Xhaka was always a player for all his faults through the years. He would never go missing, and he'd be always screaming for the ball, wanting it all the time. Havertz is not like that. He goes missing in games a lot. So I think we'll probably see him, given that your muscle, you'll like to kind of play on the front foot against us. I think we probably see Jorginho and Rice in a kind of double pivot, and that gives Odegaard a bit more kind of freedom.
So
I think.
Are you saying more like a 4-2-1-3?
So I'll give you what I think will be the starting lineup, if you like. Raya in goal. We'll talk about that as well. Saliba and Gabriel, who just, Saliba, and he didn't even play in that 2-0 last year. I think it'd be White, and I think Tomiyasu will be on the left, thinking about Almiron as well, and trying to snuff that out, because he's defensively a lot more secure than Zinchenko. I think we're going to see Rice and Jorginho, Odegaard, Saka and Martinelli either side. And I wonder, so Havertz, his best games have been when he's actually been playing as a number 9 for us. And Eddie's he's not great away from home. I think the game like tomorrow, I think Eddie would go missing, and I wonder whether he'd even maybe start Havertz up front. I don't know.
There's only one Eddie. Which Eddie are you talking about?
Sorry, Eddie.
Not the one that does secret rap videos. We know it's you, and Ketty. Yes, we know it's you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wonder whether Havertz will start as a number 9. I don't know.
What about Jesus?
I would like to see him.
Is Jesus not?
He's injured.
Well,
that
brings that's the perfect time for us to sort of move on to that, because I think injuries are definitely going to play a part in whatever the result of this is. So I'm going to show you the,
and we're going to miss Party
Arsenal first. So let's have a look. There we
and
go.
Arteta's doing this thing now where he just basically, in every single press conference, you will never know how long a player's out for.
Yeah.
He just doesn't say.
Well, according to this, I've had a look on premierinjuries.com. So you've got Thomas Partey out. So they're saying somewhere towards the end of the month for him.
They haven't got
there's a fire injury
no one's
for Jesus. Yeah.
Smith Rowe he played against Bournemouth, and that you obviously didn't do as well as we did against them, but it was canny.
Yeah.
But he's a decent player. I like Smith Rowe, but him being out, I was kind of I don't like it when players are injured, but I was secretly pleased that he wouldn't be playing. But the difference is you've got players to come in who are cracking players. So.
Yeah. Well, a flip side of this as well. Sorry, go on. I cut you off there.
Just say so. Smith Rowe basically. He wouldn't be a starter anyway, because he was out for so much. Actually, weirdly, that Sheffield United game he started, the last Arsenal game he started. The last Arsenal game he started was when you beat us at your place 2-0, the April the season before, because he'd been injured that whole time. So yeah, it's really gutting for him. It's kind of looking almost like another kind of Wilshere situation where he's just a player, immense talent, and I just hope injuries don't kind of destroy his career, because he's quality. And he offers something very different as well.
I think I said Bournemouth instead of Sheffield United. I don't know why I said Bournemouth, but
because they're also they get a pasting 8-9 nils every week as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's it. So we've touched on the injuries now. This will please you.
It's easier to just say who isn't injured for us.
So, take a look at this.
First page,
honestly. Right? Yeah. So, obviously, we've got Sandro Tonali. He's going to be in the booties for the next year.
Can I ask, what's your kind of feelings around Tonali? Obviously shit, but like, what's the kind of extent of how the impact on that on your midfield?
I mean, I had a rant the last time, and I made my feelings clear how I felt about it. I do feel that the football authorities need to have a little look
Oh
and
yeah,
see
it's
whether
hypocritical
we're
shit. It's terrible. I think it's
yeah.
terrible. Like, yeah.
In
I don't
terms of
think
the player, in terms
But
of
yeah, in terms
Tonali,
of you and the team,
the
yeah.
player, I think he's one of those players that it would. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, but you can see in little bits how good he is.
Yeah.
But I think we all know the Italian game is so different to our game, and getting used to the pace of the Premier League, I think it would take at least half a season, and you know, a lot of players, it takes them a good season to really get going. So I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of in the positive, you know, where he can still train with us, and we've got players coming back like Willock, you know, but in terms of we can't afford any more injuries with him missing. So he is going to be a big miss. Yeah.
Yeah, the big one for me, I was so glad to see Isaac all over. He's quality. I'm very happy to see. But Wilson tends to like playing against us though. So
well, I mean, we'll carry on through these because it really isn't pretty reading because we've lost Sandro Tonali and Davy's right what he's saying. I think the timing of Joe Willock's return is just in time. Had he still been out, I think we probably would have been in a little bit of trouble with the volume of games we've got coming through at the moment. But we've got Harvey Barnes. He's not going to see anything until the new year. There's another one of our signings who was signed for the here and now. That's not going to play a part for at least half the season. Jacob Murphy and that freak shoulder injury, which they're saying they think it mightn't be as bad as the first thought. They might avoid having to do surgery. Fingers crossed. Elliot Anderson, he's got a lower back injury. I think it was a bit of a freak one as well, but again, we're not going to see him before Christmas.
Yeah.
Sven Botman, it seems to have flared up the injury that he had just when we thought he was on his way back. It looks like he's going to be out for a bit longer as well. Alexander Isak, he's picked up a groin / hip / pelvic injury. So hopefully it's one of those and not all three.
Is he looking a bit of an injury prone? Would you class him as an injury prone player now? Isak, I mean, for us, like Partey, for example, he's
not been here for very long, really. He's had a few injuries, but yeah.
Yeah, he missed a good chunk last season. He's missed a chunk this season, but this seems like it's a flare up of the actual injury he had previous to this one.
Right.
So whether he's been rushed back a little bit too quickly, that may be the case. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't. You know, hopefully this is just a little blip, and then you know, as he progresses in his career, he does learn to keep himself fit. Hopefully we haven't, because especially with Callum Wilson as well, you know, he picks up lots and lots of knocks. We can't afford to have both of them picking up knocks all the time.
Yeah.
Lewis Miley, he's got glandular fever, so hopefully shouldn't be too long for him. Javier Manquillo,
that can wipe you out. That can wipe you out though. Glandular fever can last a year in some.
Can it?
You know, yeah. It can absolutely wipe you out. I know people who have been ill for over a year after having that. So that's another one you just don't know.
Oh God, I didn't realize it was as severe as that. Well,
it depends on how bad it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we've also got Javier Manquillo. It's all right. He's out with a groin as well. Now he is injury prone. He is constantly injured. Him, and we're also saw Matt Target limping off after a couple of minutes. So what's that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nearly a full starting outfield of of players that would, in one way or another, play a part in that first team. That
was the thing, Dan.
That was the crisis, Davy.
Well, the thing with Miley when the whole Tonali thing blew up, I just thought, right, let's get the kid gloves off in terms of Miley and get him on the bench and start playing him, because he's going to be a real player. He's going to be fantastic, you know. And then you find the result, and then you think, well, we've got Anderson, but he's injured and he could be out for quite a while. I think the main one that I'm concerned about is Isak, because we've only got 2 strikers, and Wilson kind of play game after game after game.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way he could have played on Wednesday and then play tomorrow and then play on Tuesday. And I'm expecting he'll probably play 70 minutes or something. And then he might end up moving Gordon or moving somebody up front. I think, you know, it depends on how the game's going. But it's one of them, you know, I've spoken to a few people about tomorrow, and it's almost like the way that Arsenal have been playing, it's almost like a free hit in some ways for us, because we're not expecting to win, especially with the players out. But then you want to really go for it still, you know, you want to play. So, I still think we'll play we're best 11, but then we've got Dortmund on Tuesday, which... You know, that's another thing.
So, what, you need a result against Dortmund, right? I mean, you obviously had the PSG win, which, congratulations. Can't stand PSG. That was really...
Yeah.
The way that it works, yeah, we do.
Yeah, I would say if we've got a draw, it wouldn't be the end of the world. We've still got a home tie left. But at this point, if we get 3 points against Dortmund, it puts you in a very favourable position, because that would put one 7 points with Dortmund on 3 and AC Milan, I believe, on 2.
Dortmund are on 4. Dortmund are on 4.
Dortmund are on 4, so that would put us on 7. That would put us 3 points clear of Dortmund if we beat them. So it's an effective 6-pointer, I suppose. You know,
the problem with the draw is, though, because they beat us, it doesn't go on goal difference; it goes on
head to
head. So they are actually ahead of us. They're second behind PSG. So if we only get a draw, they'll still be above us, and then we'll have to hope that they get beaten off PSG, and then we get something against PSG, and then probably hope that we beat Milan. It'd be easier if we beat them, obviously, but that's the thing, that the problem with the head-to-heads. But
it's a big if as well, isn't it?
I think honestly, if we finish in the top 3, that in that group, I think that'll be brilliant. You know, to either continue in the Champions League, preferably, or to move into the Europa. One way or another, you know, that would be brilliant for us. When you look at the group that we're in, you know, not the piddly easy group that you lot have got.
But going back to Saturday, Dan, I mean, you look at the injuries we've just pointed out there. You look at the volume of games we've got coming up, and the fractured squad. Surely fills you full of confidence about Saturday, does it?
I mean, you know, when I was on the show last year, I didn't expect a result, and actually, our performance against you lot last year was, well, apart from Spurs away, for us, I think it was one of our best away performances. I was over the moon with how we played, and you know, to hear Eddie Howe get pissy about time wasting, so being able to do the same back to you that you did to us at our place, it was quite a satisfying win as well.
The irony of that wasn't lost on you, was it? No.
That was quite enjoyable.
It's a good fixture for you. It really is. So I'm going to bring something on screen now, which just shows you how good of a fixture it is.
Saturday 5:30. All you lot will be, you know, on the beers. It's just a nice time for a game as well. Like, you know, if we can quieten you down in that first 20, but it's hard to know. We still need a good, like, we haven't had a real, apart from that Man City game, like a proper performance this year. So we kind of really need almost that statement win. I mean, I'd take a draw now. I'd take a draw.
Really?
I'd take a draw. I'd definitely take a draw, because when you look here, obviously we have the infamous for you when you came up and we beat you 2-0, which was it turned out being a terrible result in terms of where you finished that season. But did it become a bit of a springboard, a bit of a thing to say, right, okay, we know where we need to improve possibly. But then you look at the 8 fixtures before that, and there's a lot of L's on there for Newcastle United. You have to go back to the 15th of April 2018 to find a win there where we beat us 2-1. And then another 10 defeats before that. And then you have to go back all the way
surely
to
look at it as a kind of a pre and post takeover now.
It does.
Like clear.
I do. But at the same time, I'm quite a superstitious person as well. And certain teams have certain teams, don't they? They all have it. I think Manchester United have that with Crystal Palace. We used to have that with Southampton all the time.
You bloody have it with Liverpool.
Exactly, and it is a little bit like that with Arsenal. Whereas over the years, even before the takeover, even at times where we weren't doing too bad under Pardew, I always look at this fixture and think to myself, we'd never get a win against Arsenal. Now I hear what you're saying about the post takeover, and it is a different Newcastle United now. But just given the injuries that we went through before, given the wealth of games, I'm not as confident as maybe as I would have been if we'd had a stronger team, or we weren't so overwhelmed with the amount of matches at the moment. And that's speaking honestly.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, you go.
There was something said in the post-match interviews after the Wolves game with Eddie Howe, and it was recognised that he doesn't know who we're playing, like coming up in the next few weeks. He hasn't looked at it, and I think that's important, because that's exactly how that's how I see it. But he will have that in the players' minds, and this whole thing about head-to-heads and stuff, I know fans like to look at it and look at stats and things like that, but personally,
the players never have a clue.
I just look at it as it's the next game, and it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter what's happened before. It's who's playing on the pitch tomorrow, and that's how I see it. And I kind of forget about old games. I forget about them a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to raise, because I was really obviously not as pissed off as you were, but you lot against Liverpool, it was very frustrating.
Yeah,
very, very frustrating. I watched most of that game. Obviously, after the sending off, I thought, you were just so wasteful in front of goal. But there did seem to almost, and I don't know, I'm asking you whether there was almost this kind of nervousness within the team from how about it being Liverpool. But it was very frustrating to see you not.
I think it was one of the. I thought it was a bit of an anomaly. Just while Davy picks up the stack of money that he's just dropped on the floor, we saw it, Davy. Yeah.
Is that what all the pies are paying?
It's team notes.
I think there was just a sense, because if anything, we played better before the sending off in that Liverpool game. We really had like a stranglehold on the game. When Anthony Gordon scored, it looked like we had them on the ropes, definitely. Yeah. And for whatever reason, it just changed. It changed. I think it meant Klopp had to change his formation a little bit, and he had to sort of sit a little bit deeper and soak up a bit of pressure, and did it really, really well. Whereas if he'd started off like that, who knows what the game would have been. So in a way, it was just one of those anomalies where the fact that you've had a man sent off, the team's had to change the shape, which has just thrown you off a little bit. And if I'm being entirely honest, Liverpool played well. They played well with 10 men.
We spoke about it at length after the game, and how they actually changed their formation on 3 different occasions after the sending off, and they kind of went for it. But the reason why they went for it is because at half time they could see that we were nervous. We weren't creating the chances that we should have been creating. And they basically went 4-4-1 to start with, and it was just 2 lines of 4, and there wasn't really much of an outlet for them. They started playing over the top of our midfield, And that was the difference. And there was an element of luck there as well, you know.
Yeah. Wasn't it trying to remember, didn't he take Gordon off quite early as well, who was basically...
Yeah, I think he
I
took
can't
him
remember.
about half an hour to go.
Yeah.
Took him out about half an hour to go. Yeah,
he took Gordon off, and I think he was a kind of a defensive substitution at the time. But I remember thinking, like, Gordon was your best player, and you know, the one with the most attacking threat at the time. Yeah, it seemed that kind of almost like a nervous. We'll play out. We'll play out for this 1-0 type.
What's Ben White like for pace? Because he'll be coming up against Gordon tomorrow if he's picked.
That'll be an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, he's good. I mean, he's a fan favourite.
And then you've got Saliba. Did you say, so you reckon Saliba will be like next to him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so Saliba, I hope I'm not jinxing anything, but like...
Go on, Jinx, go on.
Go on. You made me talk about the Liverpool match. You can put a jinx on, right?
Like, he is the kind of coolest cucumber. Like, I remember, like, you know, he almost kind of, like, he revels in a kind of atmosphere like it will be tomorrow night. Yeah. And, you know, we have games like, it was the North London derby. Like, I'm sitting there shitting my pants. And it's, you know, like, games like that, they're just horrible. Every minute is just... Yeah. It's horrible. But he nutmegged a Spurs player in our own 18-yard box. He's that kind of... He's so good on the ball. He's... For I think he's still 21, 22. He is... He's really Rolls Royce, and you'll see tomorrow. Like him and Gabriel, yeah. I'm pretty. I'm feeling more confident going into this game than last year. Was what I'd say.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
what does that mean?
I'm not surprised. You know, I asked you a question earlier on, and I was basically what I was trying to hint at was whether you thought that Arsenal progressed from the outside looking in. I think they have. I think they do look a bit better than they did last season, and that's not saying they were bad last season. They were really, really good last season, but I'm saying I seem to be seeing this constant progression with Arsenal, which is happening season by season. And if I'm being honest with you, I did want you to sort of slip away in for it to be a little bit of a one-season wonder, especially with the. You know, the likes of Aston Villa coming into account and Brighton coming into account to try and get in those top 5 spaces. But it's not to be. For me, I think you do look a really sound outfit.
And, well, I mean, and I think the way, like, it was season of 2 halves. You know, we were incredible, obviously, you know, going into the World Cup and still afterwards. But, yeah, we kind of did slip it away. And I do wonder, I remember at the beginning of last season, you know, chatting to Liverpool fan mates and so on, they were saying, you know, City, they don't look all that, and they're always a bit of a slow starter.
Yeah,
and then they always. So, I mean, I wonder how much, you know, we have had some significant changes in the team with Xhaka going out. Xhaka's been the most consistent, like I say, consistent, but like player who's played under the last 3 managers for us. He's just always there, first name on the team sheet. Again, for all his faults, but like that's a big shift in, you know, having Havertz in that midfield. I am just going to use this opportunity to just... Rice is absolutely fucking class. We love. He is every, like, when, like, there was a few people saying to me, "Oh, you know, that's, you know, 105 million worth every penny."
Yeah,
it's
I saw him. We played West Ham last season, and he basically single-handedly kept them in the game. He was doing everything.
He's better. He was
doing
it. Getting
well, he
better.
will be better with better players around him as well.
Yeah,
you know?
That's it.
Yeah,
but he's where you always want to be. He's like, how's he? He's always in the right position. But his character as well. He's like, his leadership material. He's like, love Rice. But that makes a big difference to this team. He's already a player for us, almost like Rodri for City. If we don't have Rice, it's very different.
And I think he does carry the price tag well. You know, like, you know, one of your favorite teams, Dan, Chelsea, you know, they just love spending 100 million plus on players. And we look at Anthony. Anthony, he costs Manchester United in the region of 85
I'd just
million
like to take an
pounds.
opportunity to also really have a nice time laughing at Man United, and very much in the same boat. And like, congratulations again. We haven't had a result like that at Old Trafford. I don't know. I can't even remember in my lifetime. Certainly not a 3-0. We had a 2-0 in the FA Cup years ago. But we never get a result there.
1930 or 31 since we beat them 3-0.
Yeah, I mean that's a proper result.
Yeah,
that's
back when Davy was just a small ball.
But we're already in that stage now where I'm looking at that. They're playing Fulham away, thinking I don't really want them to lose that because I want Ten Hag. I don't think it will make that much of a difference if Ten Hag goes, because whoever comes in, it will be the same issues. But
I don't worry about things
cycle,
like that.
Yeah, you're right.
I'd like to see them sack 10. I'd like to see them sack Ten Hag, just so they have to start again, and 2 years down the line be back in this exact same position. It's the type of Groundhog Day I just can't get enough of. So Man U fans are going to hate me, by the way, right?
Everyone's enjoying it, and you're right. I think 5. I don't even know. I know we all know plenty of Man United fans, but they're a pain.
Oh, I know. They've given me some. It's coming from a bitter place because, you know, the Pipwit to the league, they've beat Wit in finals. So it is just a little bit of bitterness, but I don't care.
No, it's absolutely. That's what it's about. That's what football's about.
It's bloody tasty. I'm dining out on it.
It's great.
So we are starting to run out of time a little bit. What I do want to do is I do want to go through the starting 11 for Newcastle United, just to see what you think. And as always, Davy, we normally pick. I think today is probably not going to be any different. We normally pick very similar, if not the same team. So I'll let you run through it, and I've got no doubt you've probably pretty much got the same team as me in mind, I would imagine.
Well, it's Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Shea, and Burn. I'm very quickly going through them. I'm going to do the front 3 first. Miggy, Wilson, and Gordon. I think they kind of picked themselves with injuries. Longstaff and Bruno will be playing. The only issue is whether Joe Linton plays or Willock. Mm-hmm. And I've got a feeling that he might play Willock. I've just got a sneaking feeling he might leave Joe Linton for Tuesday night in terms of starting. I don't know, because Willock they both looked brilliant, but I don't know. What do you do?
I've went the other way around, just for the simple fact that Joe Willock's coming back from a long injury. I think he might want him to have that longer breathing space, so I think he'll go for Joe Linton and maybe play Joe Willock over in Dortmund during the week. So then he's had that full week of rest. He won't want to pick up another injury, and certainly not to that player. But I guess it's a flip of a coin. All the other positions I went exactly the same. So
I'm hoping that Havertz plays in that left side midfield, because I
don't think he will. I'd be surprised if he did.
I think Longstaff. The thing is if you play the two that you mentioned, Jorginho and Rice, then would Rice be on the left and Jorginho on the right? Or
it kind of, they act as a double pivot, but I mean, very fluid in there, and that's how Arteta likes to do it a lot.
Because Longstaff's runs in our right side with Miggy and Trippier coming down that side. That's why I want Havertz to be playing, because I think he'll be all over the shop with, you know, the runs off the ball that Longstaff does. He get, know,
I mean, the only thing about Havertz is that he's deceptively, like, quite, you know, he's 6'4".
Oh, he's definitely streetwise. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he can put himself about a bit, which was the main surprise when he came to us. But so maybe with that, and Jorginho obviously played against West Ham, and again he's how old, 31, 32, I don't know. So he might not have the legs. So maybe Havertz might start there. But I wonder if he'd. We played Jorginho and Rice there against City at home, just to try and get that bit more of control in midfield, and that worked well. But Jordan, I don't know. You're making me doubt my initial thoughts and whether he might actually go for Havertz.
I think Odegaard's the key for yous. I really do.
Yeah. We need him. We need him to have a good game.
And he plays balls in between the lines to players who come deep. And Saka comes inside and he finds him, and it is a difficult team to play against. But when we're on song, we're a difficult team to play against as well. I think it'll be a good game.
Well,
I'd almost say that I wonder whether it's a lot more like the last. I can't remember what we predicted, but last season there was like, I don't know. I remember Pope making like 10 world-class saves, just like it's incredible. We should have been dry by half time. I can't remember. It was 1-0 by then, but I think Pope made this incredible save. And again, I think Ramsdale. But I don't think it's going to be as open as last season. That's what I would say. And I wonder if we're going to do predictions. I mean, what do I know?
Yeah.
But I just wonder whether it'll be less. Yeah, certainly less chances from us, maybe less chances from you as well, because we're a bit more robust there.
Well, you mentioned predictions there, Dan. So we're coming towards the end. We always finish off with predictions. I want to hear a scoreline and scorers from you.
I think it's going to be 0-1. Going to go for a nice little the favourite Arsenal scoreline. And I'm going to go. I'm going to go Martinelli. Martinelli 1-0. Yeah.
Davy?
I'm gonna go 1-1, but I do a bet with me mates. We pick two teams, and there's 4 away, so we put them together. And my mate, who's a Sunderland fan, he's picked Newcastle to win tomorrow. He's got a feeling that Newcastle are going to win tomorrow, and he normally.
Was that you?
He normally gets. That's me notes gone again.
That's his pile of money gone.
Yeah,
that's his money he's putting on his bet.
He normally does really well with his football bets, so I'm hoping that one comes in. And I said to him, that's a sneaky one, but yeah, I'm going to go 1-1, and I think Wilson will score again.
He usually does against. Wilson must be. I mean, he scored loads of goals against us.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He always
brilliant
scores
goal
against
scorer.
us.
Right, so I'm going to go. I've got that. I'm going to say it, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say 2-0 Newcastle. I've just got a feeling, like you said.
Ooh,
I've got a feeling, right? The buzz from the other night, under the lights at St. James's Park, Saturday evening, there's going to be a buzz about the place. Not too dissimilar of a feeling than the last time that you came up, Dan. That's
so
the
horrible.
atmosphere. Yeah, I think that's the atmosphere. And when I think about the starting lineup that me and Davies just went through, that isn't a bad starting lineup at all. And if we can get the first goal, and I think, if it does come,
that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, if we get the first goal.
Going back to last season's game, like first 10 minutes, like you were well on top of us. I think it was about the first 10, 15 minutes, and we kind of weathered that storm, and we kind of showed that we were up for it, basically. I think I said the same. Like, if you do score in that first 15 minutes,
it could be difficult. It could be difficult.
We'll be smiling.
Then getting the crowd behind you, and then it will just be, it will feel like that kind of PSG style.
Yeah. And I'm going for a goal for Miggy, and I'm going to go for a goal for Wilson. There we
Hopefully.
go. I think that's more in hope than actual thought process.
I never predict an Arsenal loss.
Yeah.
But look, we have come to the end of the video. Dan, thank you so much for coming on again. Been a great guest.
Yeah, pleasure.
And always.
Are you going to come down? Are you going to come down when we play you?
Try to.
I don't know. I can't remember. I did look, because I look at the fixtures, and it was annoying that it's this way round, because usually it's we play you at home first, and then we're up at yours in April. It's been like that a few
I
times.
haven't looked. I haven't looked.
Yeah. I'll try and
Oh,
get down. I
hilarious.
will try and get down because it is one of the ones I try to get down for. So
Yeah.
if so, we'll go for a pint again, and I'll use the
Yeah.
toilet first this time.
Yeah, yeah.
But anybody who's made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a cheeky comment with your score below. But yeah, we'll be back later on in the week, and yeah, hopefully we've got smiles on our faces, and not this fella down here. Not this fella.
Hope you have a
down here.
lovely time in Germany and a terrible time tomorrow.
Thanks for that. I'll pick
All
the
the best.
compliment
Can't
out
beat
of
a
there
Euro
somewhere.
away. You can't beat a Euro away. I've only ever been to one, and it was when
It'll
we
be
beat
good.
Milan at San Siro. Yeah, that's the only Euro away I've been to. It was
Well,
incredible.
hopefully it's going to be a
Yeah.
good week for Newcastle. So
Yeah.
we'll see us on the next one. And until then, come on.
Howie!
See you there.